Yeah, no, you can't do both.
Okay, call this meeting to order. Let the record show that all commissioners are present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next, I need a motion to, you guys have the previous minutes, February and March, I'm sorry.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion, I need a second, and any questions or discussion? Not all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. We have one citizen's comment, Gerald. I can't understand your last name. Zuramek?
Yes.
Touchstone Communities, go ahead.
Correct, thank you. And I have some handouts, so I can pass those out. Is that all right? So I'm the general counsel of, I know that public comment is supposed to be brief, so I'll talk while I walk. I'm the general counsel for Touchstone Communities. We manage nursing facilities in the state of Texas, including the Del Rio Nursing Center here in Del Rio. And I understand that I think in March, you had a presentation from a developer who wanted support from the county to build a new nursing facility with 100 new Medicaid beds in Del Rio. And I understand that you all supported that, and it's understandable. The developer came in and suggested that he was going to infuse $23 million into your economy over the next several years. I wanted to let you all know that there's another side of that story, and that building a new facility with 100 Medicaid beds would actually harm the 3 existing facilities you have in Valverde County. A new facility of that size, the demand is simply not there. And so I'll just want to point you to a couple of the slides in here. There's one that looks like this. The developer came in and predicted that there would be 15% annual growth in the need for Medicaid beds over the next year. So this slide, which shows basically just a horizontal line, shows what the actual Medicaid occupancy demand has been in Del Rio over the last 3 years. It's essentially flat. It's less than 1% per year. If you turn the page, you can see the comparison between the green dotted line as the actual growth line based on historical information, and the red line that shoots up like a hockey stick is what the developer is predicting. And he doesn't really provide the only basis that he provided for that aggressive growth is he actually looked at the data over the last 3 years and found the lowest level of occupancy over a 3-year period and started measuring from there. So he started when the occupancy was at its lowest point, picked another point a year or so ahead where it had increased slightly, and based on just those 2 data points, it looks like there's this demand, but it's really not there if you look at the historical growth pattern. Since he published the study, since he came to you all, there was a spike in Medicaid occupancy in 2017, but the first 2 months of January and February, it's gone back down, and the most recent occupancy is countywide under 70% again. It's about 69%. So the final slide I'll draw your attention to, the developer in the proposal that he submitted to the Health and Human Services Commission in Austin says that the most important factor to consider is the growth of the over 65 population. We've all heard about the baby boomers and hitting, and that's going to increase demand. His own projections are that the over 65 population will only increase in Valverde County by about 3% per year. And so we charted that out, and you can see that the blue line shows relatively slow growth. It contradicts exactly his other information saying there's going to be 15% growth. And then you can see beneath that what that would do to the occupancy levels with current nursing facilities that you have here in Valverde County versus if you added 100 new beds. And so instead of operating at about 60, high 60s, low 70s, which they've done for the past 3 years, you add 100 beds, all those buildings would be running at about a 50% occupancy. It would drop that low, and then it wouldn't regain the levels of 70% for about 10 years. So what does that mean? It means you'll have, instead of them saying that they're going to bring 100 and something new jobs to the county. What it means is if they build that new facility, some of the employees that work at the other 3 buildings, some of the employees that work at Val Verde Regional Medical Center are going to go work at the new building. It's not new jobs, it's just rearranging the existing jobs. Now, I'm not asking you to take any action on this. I realize this is just public comment. The company I work for is a competitor of the developer. What I would like the opportunity to do is either to work with the county staff to provide additional information on this, but I'd like to come back before you as an official agenda item later this month, potentially, and ask you to take action to withdraw the support and at least stay neutral. You know, if the HHSC in Austin wants to grant them the permission to build this new nursing home, that's fine, but it's important to us as a business that's currently operating in Val Verde County that the county not support a developer coming in who has not even identified who's going to operate this nursing facility. It's essentially a speculative. They're building a house on spec. They're hoping they can find someone to operate it if they can get permission to build it. And we would ask at the appropriate time when we're on the agenda for the county to remain neutral and not support this new developer coming to town.
Okay.
So happy to take any questions. Yes, sir.
No,
Who do you work for?
I work for Touch.
Citizens comment, we cannot comment.
Can't take
Okay,
questions.
why don't you meet with me and we'll put you on the agenda item.
Fantastic.
Okay.
I do have to go meet with some folks at the city, but I can
Okay.
circle back around.
Yeah,
Thanks, sir.
okay, thank you. All right, now, anybody else with citizens comments? If not, I'm going to move item number 28 because the warden has to go back to work. He wanted to earn his pay. So, item 28, discuss possible action to amend IGA number 80980061 between Val Verde County and the Geo Group by adopting amendment number 1 to the agreement. What this is basically, and Warden is here just to verify if I said anything wrong here, correct me. But what it is that Geo wants to take over the facility in the Maverick County because they want nothing to do with Maverick County. They willing to invest.
You saying what this is?
Yeah, and what they're going to do is invest at least $5 to $6 million to upgrade the facility in Maverick County, and they will house federal prisoners up there because I think they're overbooked in Carter City and some other places. And they will. It's a win-win situation. They will give us $1 a day for every inmate that they house. So it's a win-win situation, and it can house up to 1,300. But they're not going to, 600, but more or less about average, about 500 a day. And that's not guaranteed, but I'm just giving you a rough estimate how much it would house. So we would be talking about $500 a day, which would be $15,000 a year, a month, times 12 would be more or less about $225,000 a year that we would get from GEO. So it's a win-win situation for Val Verde County. We don't have to do anything. They will manage the facility. They are responsible for everything. They got liability. The workman's comps and everything goes directly underneath this warden. He will pay the bills and everything. So it's a win-win situation. And what I need from you is a motion to approve this.
Motion to approve, Judge.
Okay. Second. Warden, did I miss anything before we continue?
I got a question.
Go ahead.
I think we're good.
Okay?
So, we shouldn't lose any of our beds, right? We shouldn't lose any occupancy with that.
Oh, absolutely not. Here at Del Rio,
Yes, sir.
you know, Del Rio facility, through the federal government, through the marshals, all initial arrests have always, or for the past 5 years, that come directly from my prison here in Del Rio. They're going to continue to do that.
Okay.
This is, there's been a overflow of arrests lately, more so than the past 3 years probably. And so much so that we're having to move inmates to far outlying counties. You know, Karnes County, that's a long ways to transfer. And so this facility will be housing those overflow inmates, not taking from the Val Verde County.
The great thing about this is that none of our people are gonna be involved in that facility. You guys are only gonna work under our contract, and the county of Alberta will be generating some money.
Right. The whole thing behind the contracts is that the counties have to contract with the federal government. You know, we can't contract directly with the federal government, so we're just putting a rider on our current contract here at Del Rio, or addendum that will
Have that
meet
other
the
facility.
requirements.
And, Reed Smith, which is the CEO, who's gonna retire, said that they were very pleased with the way we run the facility, and they want to incorporate that. So it's a reward for us of doing good work with them.
Yes, sir, good job.
Thank you. All right, any questions? If not, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Thank you, Ward, you go back to work.
Go ahead,
All right, remind me that at 9:15, we have a hearing. Let's go now to item number 9, presentation by Jose Herrero, to inform Beverly County Commissioner of Public Practice. He's not coming, so we table that one. Okay. All right, next, item 10, discuss possible action on the resolution to accept $500,000 from Texas CDBG, contract number 7218075 from Texas Department of Agriculture.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion, a second. Any questions or discussion? Mr. S. was here. If not, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Next, item 11, discuss possible action on the contract for management administration services from Esser and Company Consultant LLC for Texas CDBG 7218075.
Motion to approve. Second.
Second, any questions, discussion? If not, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Item 12, discuss possible action on resolution designating authorized signatories for Texas CDBG 7218075.
So moved. Second.
Second, any questions, discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Item 13, discuss possible action on the contract for engineering services for TRC Engineering Incorporated for Texas CDBG 7218075.
Move. Second.
Second, any questions? If not, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Let's go to item 14, discuss possible action to approve transfer of precinct 1 in the amount of $35,000 from paving project to operating budget.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay,
Second.
motion second. Any question, discussion? Not all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Next, item 15, discuss possible action regarding general liability and workman's compensation requirements for service providers doing business in Valverde County.
Mr. Stern, can you, give us a little information here as to,
Well, this is, brought to the court at a previous meeting, and basically, I was asked to contact, our workman's comp person, the top workman's comp person at Texas Association of Counties, a lady by the name of Stacy Carluccio. Upon visiting with her, and the question was, is it a requirement, what was asked of me was to inquire as to whether it was a mandatory policy of Texas Association of Counties that we hire, everybody we hire to work on buildings, contractors, whatever, whether it be carpet, plumbing, have workman's comp. And she cited two different sections of the Title V of the Labor Code. One section states at the very top that the construction, anyone in the construction contractor that builds a building for an entity such as a municipality or a county, school district, is required to have workman's comp. But she said, Roger, there's also another section of law, and she gave me that section of law, which I forwarded to the county attorney's office, Anna Markowski Smith. And in that particular section of law appears to exempt. She says, this says exactly, these were her words, she says, it says exactly something different. And she even forwarded us a contract that would allow us to be held harmless of any workman's comp on our part. And let's say we hired an electrician or a plumber or whatever, if there was some type of injury. And of course, in discussing this matter with our other risk management people, they all pointed out we have coverage. We have general liability coverage. which, by the way, I just added up before, 2 days ago, and we paid something like $68,000 in the last 5 years for this coverage. That would cover us, and of course, they went on to tell me that at TAC, as you know, we operate under the Texas Tort Act, which means that the maximum would be $100,000 per person, or $300,000 maximum per occurrence. So there's a cap on the limited on the general liability, and I thought that pretty much resolved it. I visited with Mr. Fuentes, and Mr. Fuentes took it under advisement. I think it's been discussed before. It's simply like I told Mr. Fuentes in my office, you know, we are staff, we make recommendations, you guys make the decisions. And, you know, if I was in Mr. Fuentes' position, I would probably want to err on the side of caution, if I was going to err. And I'm not saying you're erring, Mr. Fuentes, but by the same token, I am going to give you my common sense best evaluation of the situation. I think that there's a possibility that you could maybe put some kind of cap. There's no doubt, it's a no-brainer that if we were hiring someone to build us a building like the Westgate project, the library, or any big building contract, to have all the amenities such as workman's comp, general liability, and all of that would be almost a guarantee that the contractor has the what for to complete the contract. But I'm contracting where we are the general contractors. I use the women's shelter as a good example. We bought all the material. It's built on our land. We worked on it, and then if we were to have someone come in, they would be a subcontractor under us, so to speak. If we had them work for us and sign that contract, and I think you'd agree on this, then they would be exempt from claiming workman's comp on us.
No, but that's not true.
Well, this was the interpretation of our person in Austin.
I can tell you it's not true, because I have subs that work under me all the time, and if something happens, I'm stuck.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a huge issue.
Okay. Well, I'm just relating the conversations that I had with the people in the Association of Counties, and we do have general liability coverage, and of course, y'all will make the decision.
Mr. Fuentes, I'm gonna make this motion. How should we write this? That be accepted.
Do we accept what?
Martin, let's talk a little bit more about it. The reason this item's on the agenda, we believe in keeping local tax dollars here locally. And when we're not allowed to do that, we gotta hire companies from out of town. So the local dollars leave Valverde County. And that ain't fair to the people that in business here in town. If it's a small project, that we have to go through the procedure of getting somebody that's got insurance, bonded, workers' comp. There's a lot of small companies here that don't have that. That doesn't mean they don't do a good job. And,
Excuse me, Commissioner, can we continue this discussion right after the public hearing? Gotta do the public hearing at 9:15. Okay, we'll come back to this item right now.
okay.
Okay, we'll now have a public hearing regarding the replat of lots 7, 8, 9, Block C, Ranchitos, Amistad subdivision, vacating a portion of Soto Circle.
Thank you, Judge. This is a public hearing. This is a hearing, an opportunity for anybody that wants to make a comment for or against this replat. I will, since this includes a vacation of a portion of a public right-of-way, I want to be explicit about how this came about. There was a gentleman that owned, Mr. Logan Stevens, whose house burned down. He owned lot 8. And Mr. Stevens, he owned actually lot 7 and 8. And his house burned down. Mr. Stevens wanted to build a barnuminium on his lot 7. And then, of course, he also intends to rebuild his house on Lot 8. It's been the custom of our, or practice of our office that when on these smaller lots, in these older subdivisions where the lot lines are not clearly defined, we require a survey. And we required when the survey was completed, it was determined that Mr. Stevens already had a structure out there that was on the cul-de-sac, extending about 15 feet onto the cul-de-sac. Furthermore, it was determined that on Lot 8, where he wanted to rebuild his house on the same foundation, that he had a structure that was over on Lot 9. And it was determined that Lot 9 had a structure that was also in the cul-de-sac. So actually, all three of these lots had some type of encroachment. Two of them on the public right-of-way and one, Lot 8, on another lot. So in order to solve this, to be able to permit the structures that needed to be built, they acquired the services of an engineer, surveyor engineer. And basically, what they did was reposition the cul-de-sac and reduce it slightly. That's why there's a vacation of that social circle, which is the cul-de-sac. And then all of the lots will be in compliance. There will be no encroachment. The thing about it that the reason that we do this is not only because it's required by law and it's the proper thing to do, but that it solves problems in perpetuity for the homeowners, in the sense that at some particular point in time, had this situation not been resolved, then one of the owners, had they left it to another heir or whatever, or tried to sell it themselves, they would have had a hard time in a conventional closing situation to obtain a title policy. But this will allow all the homeowners to be in compliance. Everybody, there were 3 individuals that actually owned Lot 9, and they signed the plat, and of course, Stewart's signed the plat because they own 7 and 8. And this is the time for anybody that has any questions regarding this to voice them, or any comments or questions.
I think we should allow it to go forward. Mr. Stevens' house burnt down 9 months ago.
Excuse me, could you come up here and introduce yourself for the record? And then just state your name, and if you're for or against it, and that's.
I'm Rita Fisher, and I'm for allowing Mr. Stevens to have his home.
Go ahead, continue.
Okay, he had his house burnt down 9 months ago, and he has been unable to rebuild. And it's a very unfortunate situation. And I wouldn't want that to happen to any of my neighbors. The house was purchased, I think, somebody said in 1965, with all this convoluted stuff on it, and it's no fault of Mr. Stevens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody?
This has already gone before the Amistad zone, and it was all everything was approved, and it was just contingent upon changing that lot to 6 to 9.
Yes.
Is that right?
I might add just one thing for information purpose. This would have been done in March had there not been an error, a typographical error on one of the deeds. This was, in fact, if you remember, we had a hearing scheduled in March. This would have been done 2 months ago. But when apparently the deed was a gift deed or an inheritance on Lot 9, and there was the attorney that handled it called it Lot 6 instead of Lot 9 until there were affidavits filed that corrected that error.
All right. So, anybody else want to speak for or against this? If not, this public hearing is now closed. Do we have a motion to accept it?
I'll make a motion to approve the plat.
That's item 36?
36.
Yeah, 36. Okay, there's a motion, second. Any other questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Second.
Right. Right, now let's go back to item 15. Okay, Mr. Flores, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
as I was saying, Judge, I strongly believe that local tax dollars should be spent here locally. I know sometimes there's big projects, and we have to go outside of Alberta County to hire a company that qualifies to do that job. But there's a lot of small projects when the county, like painting or plumbing or electrical, framing, stuff like that, that we can hire here locally. So I want to make a motion, Judge. I'll make the motion to do business here locally and have any company working for the county to sign a form not to hold the county liable for any type of accident.
Mr. Commissioner, do you want to put a cap on that? I mean, like 5,000, 10,000, what are you going to put a cap on?
I think we used to do it up to $25,000.
Okay, okay. Second.
How much liability are we getting ourselves into?
Commissioner, but first I'd like to say, it very clearly says in the statute 406.096 that any sort of construction or improvement on construction, a contractor that the county or any sort of governmental entity hires must have workers' compensation. The reason behind that is workers' compensation pursuant to the Workers' Compensation Act is an exclusive remedy. If the workers' compensation is not in place, then any sort of liability they would have to, the person injured can go through the Texas Tort Claims Act, which is much higher or potentially much more detrimental to the county if compared to the workers' compensation route. I believe Mr. Flores said that these type of things that he would like to have local people work on are to be small things, but I'm going to quote here from the Texas Attorney General opinion that says this provision I just cited applies to every building or construction contract entered into by the county, no matter how small the subject matter of the contract may be. So it is my opinion that you can call it whatever you want, but if it's if the county hires a contractor and if they don't have workers' compensation, the potential liability would be much higher than if they did, which is why the statute's there in the first place.
How many accidents have we had in the past 10 years?
I'm not aware.
Does this court have the authority to override state statute?
No.
Okay, now, my question to you is, because it happened to me, in case of emergency, can we do that? Let's say it's an overnight thing that a plumbing goes out, sewer line, and we need it like quick. Can we do that in an emergency situation?
Wait, now before you were hired and we started talking about this issue, Anna called me and told me that all we need to do is have a form signed by that small company or person or people where they wouldn't hold the county liable and we could hire them. I mean, y'all can draw up a legal paper so that way we can hire local people here.
Okay, so if a company signs it that they're not gonna hold us harmless, they're gonna hold us harmless, can the individual still sue us that works for the company?
Yes.
So that piece of paper does not obligate the employee, it only obligates the company.
Right.
Okay, you didn't answer my question. If it's an emergency, like I had one about 4 months ago, can I do that?
You should have the right, real quick. In this instance here, it became a health issue.
Issue.
So, I mean, he should have the right because, I mean, one thing created the other thing, so, I mean, you gotta fix it. I mean, there has to be some given, I mean, I think we're talking about two different things here right off the bat, but I mean, he is gonna need clarification.
Yeah, well, I need clarification, because you're saying no matter how small the company is or the matter, I still need workman's comp. My question is, I have to understand that I could do it if it's an emergent health hazard, but I want an answer from you guys.
Judge, that wasn't the focus of our research.
Mhm.
That wasn't the item on the agenda. If you'd like, we can look into
Okay.
what kind of exceptions
Please
are for
answer me that question.
I think an emergency situation is a little bit
There
different.
should be an exception.
Okay.
We just didn't.
My concern is we're talking about waiving workers' comp, general liability, automotive, we're talking about waiving everything. And I understand what you're saying, Commissioner, that we need to keep tax dollars local, but there are contractors here that do carry that stuff. Yes, they're more expensive, but they do carry it. And you, by doing this, are going to not allow those people the ability to bid because their cost to do business is more because they carry these insurances when the little guy doesn't carry the insurance. So it puts the county, in my opinion, in a very big risk.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, there is actually a workaround that tax suggested, where do you want to go?
Right, there is possibly a workaround, like Mr. Jordan said. And I believe we discussed this last meeting, but the county can hire temporary employees, basically. There's a lot of, I guess, bureaucracy and red tape involved with that, but what would essentially would happen if they are temporary employees for a specific amount of time, they will, in effect, be covered under the county's workers' compensation liability.
So we put them under the payroll system, to be able to hire them on a temporary basis, contracted labor?
Yeah, so we've done that before.
No. So that's the point.
What about tax ruling that Mr. Cerny just cited?
I'm sorry?
What about tax ruling, Texas Association of County that Mr. Cerny just quoted?
I spoke with an official from TAC. I think it was the same person that Mr. Cerny spoke with, and she, I believe, said in no uncertain terms that the county, when they're hiring contractors, that contractor has to have workers' compensation insurance.
You just gave us a solution.
Right, a temporary employee. Yeah. The point is that if they're going to be employees of the county, there has to be an employer-employee relationship, meaning that the county has to exercise control and direction. They have to provide them with resources necessary in order to do so.
Okay.
If you hire them as a temporary employee and they are in effect acting independently as if they were to be an independent contractor, well, then that's a de facto sort of independent contractor, and I believe that they would still be able to exercise the Texas Tort Claims Act in the event of an accident.
The thing is, though, that if we go to hire anybody, they're acting under our direction to begin with.
They're acting under a general broad directive, like build a building, but
No, I'm saying, just for example, when we had an issue the other day and the judge was waiting for somebody that had insurance, his hands were tied. So if we were to have gone out and hired the individual that we usually hire, and we give them direction, then we need you to fix this sewer line because this and this is a problem, then we've just taken care of that. You've given us a solution. We've given him direction. So we should be fine.
Right. You gave them a directive to complete an overall task, but that relationship is more of a contractor-contractee type relationship.
Okay, so if I go out and I tell them and I explain to them, look, the sewer line between here and here is bad, we need you to replace that sewer line with a 6-inch, it's got a 6-inch sewer line, we need you to replace it with a 6-inch sewer line to take care of the problem. I mean, there's nothing else to discuss. We've just given them all the direction in the world.
Right, and there's other things involved. You would have to pay them by the hour as there was an employee, and I suppose...
Or by contract?
Excuse me?
Or by contract? Could you say the job's going to cost $350?
No, the code specifically...
by the hour?
It has to be an employee. We have to authorize the hiring of the employee, and then the employee is hired to go do the job, and he becomes an employee of Valverde County.
Get it approved by the court.
And, there's nothing to say you can't do it on an annual basis, that we hire somebody as needed by the hour, and they become an employee of the county when they're needed. It's more like a seasonal part-time or whatever you want to call it. You could do that on an annual basis and hire an electrician, plumber, whatever, and they're set up as an employee, and they only get paid when they work.
Juanita, you had something?
And if you hire a temporary or a seasonal employee, they become part of the county. Anything that any procedure, they have to sign policies, they have to go on their payroll, and it is very complicated for the auditor's office and HR to go in and say, this gentleman or this person's coming in for 2-3 days, then we have all this paperwork and set them up in the system, turn them on, and then 3 days later, turn them off. And then you gotta go back in.
But if you set them up on an annual deal, and we authorize the judge to hire an employee to do plumbing not to exceed 500 hours a year.
Okay.
Sometime throughout that year, that employee calls them and they show up and they fix the plumbing and they're already in the system and it's a 12-month deal.
And we keep them for 12 months.
Yeah, but they're only gonna work 500 hours or whatever the number is.
Yes.
And then he just picks up the phone and calls them when he needs them.
But what happens, Commissioner, is that this person becomes, in essence, an employee of the county. And like Mr.
Yes.
Fuentes is saying, these people are contractors that have their own rules and procedures. Once they become an employee of the county, they have to follow our rules and procedures. It's okay to tell them today, come in, you've got to do this work, but they've got to, our safety, our liability, our workers' comp, all that comes into play. So in essence, the county will take liability and responsibility for that.
As long as they're on that job, on our job.
Exactly.
They're not gonna take responsibility for them if they're on their own personal job.
And if we keep them in the system, they are county employees.
And the contractor's employees? Same thing for them?
Well,
The contractor has employees.
The contractor covers the employees.
Just, for clarification, make sure you give me the opinion I asked for.
For the emergencies?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Emergency situation. All right, there's a motion, a second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye, what is the motion?
The motion was, his motion was
To waive workers'
to
comp.
waive workman's comp.
And have a
up to-
special form drawn by
up to
the legal
25,000.
department, and then let company contractor sign
Are
it.
we waiving general liability and everything else, or just
Yes.
workers' comp? Or the whole thing?
Just to go,
For any project less than 25,000, we're waiving all insurance requirements.
well, maybe not liability insurance or regular insurance, but, well, we don't want is them, for us to, if they're not gonna bond it, if they got workers'
If
comp.
they're not gonna carry
I mean,
workers' comp, they're not gonna have general liability. or
We've done
anything else.
business for the past 20 years, and I don't think there's an accident when y'all's files having to do with, us hiring a contractor and doing a service for the county. I just want us to do this, keep it simple. And keep the tax dollars here. That's what I want.
So, Commissioner, you wanted us to drop the form. We can't contract around state law. State law says that the county is required to have.
It's all legalities, I mean, it's what an attorney thinks, the other one thinks. I mean, at the end of the day, we've been doing business like this for a long time, giving our local people the opportunity to work here.
And I agree with you 100%, but we can't supersede the state law.
No, that's fine, I mean, they're attorneys, I'm just saying, it's just a legality, like,
Okay, there's a motion, second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
all right.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Aye, so motion passes. Thank you.
You know, real quick, Judge, I don't think any of us up here in the court would like to do anything to hurt
No.
our local people. We just need to figure out a solution.
Yeah, we need, like I said, I do need a legal opinion in that situation.
Can I have a vote again, please?
2, 4, and 3 against. Motion,
Owen, Judge, and Commissioner.
okay,
That was a rough one.
that was a rough one, because I agree on one side and I agree on the other side, but we can't supersede state law. Thank you.
That's what
All right, next,
I can't agree with both sides.
Pick it up.
all right, next, item 16, discuss possible action regarding submissions for Valverde County Fairgrounds District in RFQ. We only had one.
We had one, Rolando L. Rios and Associate, responded to our RFQ, therefore his election, committee was not convened.
What are we gonna do?
I need an acceptance of this submission.
Motion to accept.
Should we go back out or relook? I mean, we still have time. Nobody, where did we advertise this?
On our website and on during this term.
I'd really like to relook it. Advertise it a little bit wider. It's up to the court, but
You can go a little bit, advertise a little bit more.
Two
it's
more
up to the
weeks.
court. Maybe advertise a little bit wider, San Antonio, some other places, and see
Okay.
what we can come up with.
Okay, okay, thank you. Next, item 17, discuss possible action regarding the purchase of the 3 Apple iPads for the district clerk's office, price of $117 and 91 cents to be paid for by office, from office supply.
I believe,
The 900 is per, or for all three?
No, that's for all three of them.
That's awful cheap.
Ah,
They don't have, they're all Wi-Fi. They don't have any hard drive or anything.
Don't they have money in their special funds, sir?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They have
This was brought through the auditor's office to me as far as I think he was looking for a court order to
They said the district clerk,
transfer
the
money
records
from.
management and prevention fund balance of 23,000. I don't have a problem with them
Okay.
taking it out of that.
is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Right.
Aye, all those opposed, nobody.
Out of what account?
The records.
Records.
The
Yeah, preservation fund, records preservation fund.
Yep. I can't read it right.
All right, next item 18, discuss possible action regarding the Valverde County entering into a monthly lease agreement with Pitney Bowes for provide mass mailing postal service for tax assessor collector's office.
The lease that's about to expire was a 48-month lease at $726 a quarter. The new lease under a by-board contract would have been, is 36 months, $944.85 per quarter, and a smart buy lease, 36 months at $913 a quarter.
So it's less.
Well, it's less in terms, a little more per quarter. We recommend the Texas Smart Buy program at $913.26 per quarter for 36 months.
Motion to approve.
Need a second?
Second.
Second, any more discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, all those opposed, nobody. 5-0. Next, discuss possible action regarding authorization to request statements for qualifications for professional architectural service to develop a master plan for Valverde County Fairgrounds. Also to establish a selection review committee for this RFQ. I think.
I actually asked Roy to put this on there. I'd like for us to start looking at some long-range planning for the fairgrounds. It doesn't mean we're gonna go buy anything, doesn't mean we're gonna build anything, but we need to start looking at some long-range planning of where we wanna head to in the fairgrounds, future for covered arenas, ball fields, whatever we decide to do, but I'd like us to start going down this road and looking at a master plan so we can, as we apply for grants and different things, we have funding available to start making those improvements. I will make a motion to authorize to go out for RFQs for professional architect service for a master plan and to establish the review committee with, Eloy, Roy, and I would like Carl Esser to sit on that if he could, since he was involved in the one in Uvalde.
Okay.
The judge and,
No, it's Roy, Carl, and Eloy.
well, let's put the judge on that.
We're gonna put the judge too. If y'all want to, it doesn't matter to me.
I think you put the judge and put one more commissioner, either you or Martin. He's the one been running around, and that's in your precinct, so who wants to be part of
That
it?
doesn't matter, whichever y'all want. I don't care. I'll sit on it if you want me to.
Okay. That, put that,
That's five.
I'll second if that's part of the
Five,
motion.
is that five?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. Okay, there's a motion. I need a second.
Second.
Second, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody. 5-0.
That's Eloy, Roy, Carl, the judge, and Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Okay, next, item 20, discuss possible action regarding the purchase of a one keyless door lock for Justice Peace Court room for the price of $119 each to be paid from the court.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody. 5-0. Item 21, discuss possible action regarding the copier contract for offices of risk management purchasing and human resources.
The three offices got together about 3 years ago.
Yeah, I want to commend y'all for that, because you're the only three that have got together and share a copier. Good job.
Okay. We discussed this about 3 years ago, and as everyone's copier came due, we were purchasing it and just running it and paying for the maintenance part of it until all three of them were out of contract, and then come and agree on one that serves the needs of all three departments. And we're currently on the contracts that ended was $280 a month. The new rate will be $221 a month.
But it'll cover all three.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
There's a motion, need a second?
Somebody got a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Item,
Must have been the shock of the.
No,
dollar savings.
the thing is though, it's taken us a shorter amount of time to go through, 21 items than the public hearing.
all right, next, discuss possible action to declare the following items surplus property and property disposition may be auctioned, reassigned, recycled, destroyed, or donated.
Precinct 4 has scrap metal and scrap,
Just scrap metal, odds and ends. Judge, I'd like to, sell this scrap metal and the money generated, deposited in my operating budget.
Motion, second.
Motion and second.
Second and second.
Yeah, we'll do it all.
Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, all those opposed, nobody.
Who motioned? He motioned and second.
Item
Take care of it.
23, discuss possible action regarding the payment of executed purchase not complying with current purchase policy. You guys have the list there.
No, I didn't.
I'm not on that.
Commissioner Ford asked, last, meeting, how were the J&K, some of those J&K services? Well, some of them, I went back and looked at their restocking fees, or their, when an employee was terminated, he doesn't turn his uniforms back in, and that type of stuff, so that's where the extra, costs come in on uniform services.
Okay, I need a motion.
So move.
Move.
Second.
Second. Okay. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, all those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Item 24, discuss possible action to convert a temporary position previously approved by Commissioners Court to field technician full-time position. I think we discussed that already.
Oh, we'd already done this.
No, we have to bring it up so we can,
Oh, okay. All right, motion to approve.
motion,
The salary?
And the salary at the base pay that's,
basically, yeah,
27, 1.
27, 156.25.
Is that Roger? Good. Good? Judge's comments. One more thing. Judge's comments.
Okay. All right,
I made the motion, I don't know who seconded it.
Second.
second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Next, item 25, discuss possible action requesting a fuel card to be used for the agent maintenance trucks and lawn equipment.
Move. Second.
Second. You guys are fighting for that one. Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody, 5-0.
I forgot to close out my agenda item. Can I say a few things?
Sure.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Y'all just rolled too fast for me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Just thank you for approving my gas card. I can drive the truck now. We did want to invite you to the extension office on May 15th from 10 to 12 for a meet and greet and kind of an explanation of what we do at the extension office. We've wrapped up the year and we're looking forward to taking kids to summer camp this summer. And then we are bringing a horsemanship program to Val Verde County this summer as well. So I wanted to share those news with you and thank y'all again.
Thank you. All right, now let's put item 26, discuss possible action, interlocal corporation agreement by and between City of Del Rio and the County of Val Verde for mutual aid.
Move.
So move. And second? Second. Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, all those opposed, nobody, 5-0. Now let's go to item 27, discuss possible action authorizing Sheriff Joe Frank Martinez to sign memorandum of understanding between Val Verde County and SlideTech Training Solutions.
Move.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Judge, I think we need to discuss that in executive session.
Okay. Okay, there's a motion, but we haven't voted it, so we can come vote it after.
Motion on table.
Second.
Okay. All right. We'll discuss that after. Okay. Next, let's go to item 29, discuss possible action regarding the depository agreement contracts. Aaron?
That would be easier.
Morning, Judge.
Morning.
Commissioners, real quickly.
Well, you take everything with you.
Our depository agreements are coming up, or the expiration of them are coming up in June 16th to be back. We have several options at this moment. The hardest one would be go back out for bids. The easiest one would be to renew the contract for 2 years as they stand, or we can renegotiate the contract for another 2 years. My recommendation would be to renegotiate these contracts for the next 2 years. Maybe we can get better rates. Both the auditor's office and myself are pretty satisfied with both banks, with both depositories. I'm sorry. We haven't had an issue with either one of them, but at the end it'll be your decision.
Make a motion to authorize the county treasurer and county auditor to renegotiate.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstain? One abstention. Right. Next, item 30, monthly treasury report.
The treasurer's report that was submitted to you is a preliminary report. There is no action necessary for this, only informational purposes.
Thank you. Next, item 31, discuss possible action on the benefit eligibility for county agents.
She might should have stuck around for this one.
No. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. As indicated on my memo, we had the 2 new agents come in, and one thing that was concerning was that they brought up the fact that all the benefits are paid for by the state. In speaking with Mr. Royale, he indicated that if they choose to go on county insurance, we would become secondary. So primary would be the state. We do have one of the agents that did enroll on the insurance. The second one decided to opt out. The other concern that they brought up was the leave, vacation, sick leave, and holidays. They do earn that through the state, and they also mentioned that they shouldn't have it with the county. Very, very honest on their behalf, bringing this to our attention, which is something that I wasn't aware of, or the auditor's office.
We've been paying for years for all this stuff that we didn't have to pay.
Yes, sir. Now, here's the thing. We did have 2 previous agents leave the county. They did take separation pay from the county. We did have one of the agents stay on our insurance. Of course, this person is 60 to get dropped because they will be 65. So she wasn't very long on our insurance, but the county did pay the premium. Once we become secondary, we do not have those coverages or those protections. Their primary employer does that. So at this point, we just need some direction from the court. When it comes to the vacation and sick leave, it's a very easy fix. We turn it off in the system, and they don't earn it. But
What do you recommend on this?
my recommendation is that we do not allow them to earn leave on the county. Plus, if they do choose to go on the insurance with the county, then we would be secondary and the state is primary, which is what they, Mr. Royale was saying, and the ladies mentioned that too.
They saved us quite a bit of money in the first day.
Yes, sir.
We'll make a motion to remove them from sick leave and vacation, and if they choose to stay secondary on the issue.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all
If I
those-
may add something else. Another thing that they brought up on Monday, they were doing time, and Ms. Grant asked who would approve her time. Now, I know the county pays a portion of their salary, and then the remainder of their salary is paid by the state. She was under the impression that she inputs time and has somebody approve it. In the system, it goes around and comes back to her for approval, which I
Now,
think
does
is
it go through our payroll or the state payroll?
our payroll.
So the state pays us,
I don't know, that would be the auditor.
or they get 2 checks?
They get 2, I take that back, they get 2 checks. They
Okay.
get one from the state at the end of the month, because they only pay once a month. Then they get the
Our
county's
our
portion every 2
yes,
weeks.
okay.
So, it was my recommendation to Matt. When I visited with Matt, he said they weren't aware, they figured they approved their own time. And visiting with a judge, it does not make sense for somebody to approve their own time. I would recommend the judge.
Got a motion?
Make that a motion.
Second.
There's a motion, second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have item 32, Human Resource Monthly Report, April 19th, 2018 to May 2nd, 2018.
I have a note here that the chief salary is above base
Yes, sir, it is.
by how much?
The current base is 47,906.75, and he is wanting to leave it at the 57,534.47 that the previous chief left at.
Has he brought it not into the court to discuss that?
No.
No, sir.
Motion to approve everything except G. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Okay, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody. 5-0. All right, next item 33, I think the audit's not here. We got the audit report.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, by now, we will go into executive session pursuant to the Texas Government Code 551.071, parentheses 1, parentheses A, and 551.071, parentheses 2. Okay, we're back in session. Any approval of certificates of compliance? No. No? I need a motion to approve monthly report collected. So move.
Second.
Second. Okay, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody. 5-0. Approval of bills to be paid.
Move.
So move.
Second.
Second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nobody.
What happened to commissioner's comments? They disappeared on here.
You guys talking now?
You guys talk too much. You guys talk too much. I left it out. Anyway, Commissioner Flores is the one who wanted me to read this on the county judge's comments. Dear Judge Valdez, I'm pleased to inform you that Texas Department of Agriculture has approved Small Town Environmental Program fund awarded to Valverde County in the amount of $350,000 for water system improvements. This project will be funded through Texas Community Development Block Grant, program number 72-18-26, and it's Ridgeline Road, Precinct 4.
Thank you, Carl.
Make sure you get that in there.
All right. Nothing
It's
else?
not gonna cost us any money on a contingency, right?
All right.
You got that on the minutes there, right?
Says that now.
You got that on the minutes?
Says that now.
All right, nothing
Come
else?
back in 6 months.
Meeting's adjourned.